Everyone thinks that you need to own property to make money with Airbnb or short-term rentals, but that is not true, because there are some of the most impactful businesses that don't even involve any kind of property that you can do that surround the Airbnb ecosystem. And that is the reason why I want to introduce to you 5 different businesses that evolve around the Airbnb ecosystem that you could utilize here on the African continent. Airbnb is not just about hosting, and around every short-term rental there's an entire support system, from cleaners to property managers and to many more things. And therefore I want to share some of the things I saw over the past couple of years with you around the Airbnb business that could also make a good amount of money, that were frustrating hosts that I have consulted and that I've been consulting up to today. So the first business I want to introduce is a cleaning service. Sounds not as important, but technically every single Airbnb property, every hotel, every business that has to do with accommodation needs someone to clean their property. And for instance, what I can tell you from experience is that oftentimes, or most of the time, for instance, the cleaners or people on the ground are a little bit difficult to rely on. So for instance, I made the experience in Zanzibar while consulting another host that he also had an issue with the cleaner, that it was not always up to standard, that there were like some flaws here and there. So in the end of the day, what you could provide is a professional cleaning company. But for this one, of course, you need to train your team properly. You need to really give them guidance, spend some time with them, and really show them and give them a proper standard that you can really have a reliable cleaning team. Because then this would be one of the biggest problems Airbnb hosts face, and this not just in Zanzibar, this in every other city, I would say, here or across the continent, that you can really build a reliable cleaning team, that you can offer your service to high-end properties, that you can also get a proper return, and you cleaners also learn new skills, because then they are like a high-end cleaning team that's professionally trained and are valuable as well to the marketplace. And because I made some mistakes when I first ventured into business here in Kenya and on the African continent myself, and I always started too complex, I would say start this one and every of the other ones as lean as possible. So this doesn't mean that you need to hire like a full cleaning team of 10 or 20 people that you need to train from the beginning. Start maybe with 1 or 2 cleaners, train them properly, get the basic equipment that they need to fulfill their job professionally, and then you can simply start reaching out and try to make sales and try to get the clients in, where you can then maybe even in the first couple of attempts go with your cleaning team and to fulfill the job, that it's really up to standard, that your team really sees what you expect from them to do every single time, even when you are not around. So just to give you a story as well here, one of the people I consulted back in Zanzibar, she also hired a professional cleaning team and someone who could professionally train her own cleaner, that her own team is up to standard. Because, you know, cleanliness gets you also more bookings, because your customers get more happy. Then you also get more reviews, what eventually then leads to even more bookings in this competitive space. So therefore, it's really important that if you start a business like this and you really target first of high-end properties because you want to work with higher profit margins and really just deliver a proper service, and that you really give your own people a proper training that they can fulfill the work on the highest level possible. The next problem I recognize over and over again is that you don't have really many reliable fundis, is how we call them here in Kenya and Tanzania and Swahili, but these are maintenance workers. So people like plumbers, carpenters, like things that the handyman basically. And oftentimes the problem, even when I hire someone to fix something in my house, or for another host we work with also in Zanzibar, it's oftentimes very difficult to find reliable handymen who can fix things or build things for you. Because oftentimes, what I can tell you from my experience, they will either come very late or do the job just like with as little effort as possible, or just make things work but not on a sustainable basis. So this means next month you have to call them again, the month after you have to call them again, because it's not done properly. And where I see the opportunity in that case, and this is something I recognize here in Kenya, in Uganda, in Tanzania, so in different places. So where I see the opportunity now is actually train a proper team of handymen, of plumbers, of everything that's needed for a short-term rental, and provide this as a service. So whenever something breaks, whenever something happens, like the water is not running, the water is not getting hot here on the continent, when you try to shower somewhere, you can simply right away send someone out who knows how to fix this problem on a sustainable basis, and not tell you that they will come now and they will come next week or something. Try to offer really high quality work with reliable people that can actually solve the problem in an instant basis, that you don't have to waste time as the host, for instance, for you as your client, or that you also don't have to worry about too many or any complaints because you're really delivering the service. And I think oftentimes the problem here is said that people prefer someone who's cheap over someone who can do the work, but they also know that oftentimes they anyways have to call this person over and over again. But if you could really offer reliable service that is fast, that is efficient, that really gets the job done, what is really a sustainable solution for the problems you have in your short-term rental, for instance, I think people could and would also pay a little bit more for it, as long as they know that this is really standard, that is up to quality, and also there when you actually need it. So it's also a nice opportunity for you as a business around the short-term rental space is offering experiences and services. And this, for instance, Airbnb just launched a new product. Basically, if you go onto the website or on the phone, on the app, you will see on top, you will see now, instead of next to homes, you will see experiences and services. And there as well, it's so far, at least for now, on the African continent and the countries I checked in now, it's very underutilized. For instance, in Zanzibar, I only found very few experiences. In Nairobi, I also found very few experiences. So I think at this point in time, it's a new feature, and it's a feature where you can, for instance, it's not just, let's say, tied to Airbnb itself, but this simply means, for instance, for you, you could offer and connect these experiences, for instance, like walking tours, like specialized and unique tours that someone is already offering, and you could bring them more money by simply, let's say, having this offer on the Airbnb platform, or like getting traffic to this offering basically from a if you have an audience on social media, or if you have a network of people that always consistently ask you to travel for travel advice in the specific places you offer your advice for, then you can simply try to sell these tours and bring the businesses that already do these tours like on a professional basis. Of course, you have to test them, you have to verify that this is really like a proper tour, make it as simple as possible and as easy as possible. Maybe you even go you first 1, 2, 3, 10 times with the guests that have booked the tour with you to see how it actually works out. But the good thing of it is that you don't need to have any investment in this business. So you don't need to spend any kind of money on it. You can start very lean again. You can start very quick as well, because you can figure out which tours are the ones that are most booked, for instance, or the most unique, but they still need a couple of more clients here and there. So you can figure out which business and tour this is, and then start offering it, for instance, on Airbnb services, or also try to get traffic from other sources. And what I like about this, that almost every Airbnb guest, of course, they want experiences. So every tourist, they want to make experiences. They don't just want to sleep somewhere in a new city or in a new place. They want to do things. People here, they come to Kenya, they want to do safaris, they want to go to the coast, but they oftentimes don't know what other things they could do, because it's mainly advertised here as a safari destination. But even you have many different hikes you could do, you have many local tours you could do. So there's so much more to offer, but people are not aware of this. And the same thing applies to different places like Zanzibar, for instance. I know many people go there, just stay in a resort, go and stay in the hotel and don't leave it for as many things as they could, because they are sometimes also not aware of it. So if you could get in that position, for instance, and offer these services and offer these experiences to them, you could get a good cut from this experience and also help people to have a better experience while staying in the Airbnb properties, or while staying even in the hotel. So it doesn't really matter. So if I come now to the next business idea around the Airbnb and short-term rental business, and this is actually my favorite one, because it's one that you can do from anywhere in the world. You don't have to be present on the ground for it. At least to a certain extent you don't have to, if you choose not to, and you still have quite little time investment, but you can still make the most profits, is co-hosting on Airbnb. So if you co-host on Airbnb, is, for example, if you have a property and you hire me as a co-host, I can manage, for instance, even if I'm not in the same country as your property, I can manage all the online operations. So I can talk to the guests, I can optimize your listing to get more bookings, to get more visibility and more reviews, what then eventually also makes you more money. And if you make more money, I can take a cut from the money that you also are making, because I created more demand for your listing, we have a higher occupancy rate, for instance, or we also, or you as a host, can make more money. And this is the ultimate goal in the end of the day. If you become a co-host, you can do it even from the States, from any European country, from whatever country, even within Africa. But for instance, now I can be a co-host for properties in Zanzibar. I can be a co-host for properties in Rwanda. I can be a co-host for properties anywhere on the continent or even anywhere in the world without being physically present. And this is what I like about it, because again, you don't need to hire a team in the first place. You don't need to invest any money in the beginning. And this is something you can start in the next week, in the next 30 days, for instance, that you can start making money with it. You simply take a cut. As long as you know how Airbnb works, you can make the host more money. And especially if you look for properties that are very unique, again, a bit more on the higher end of that, you can also assure that you can make more money with it, because you oftentimes, how you charge is that you charge a cut like 10%, 15%, depending on how much you do for this property basically. And when you take a cut from this, and the more high end this property is, of course, the more your outcome will be as well. Especially if you know how Airbnb works, it's a good way to help other hosts to make money and to fill up your pockets as well, without the need of consistently putting in money into new properties. But even if you're just starting out, this is a good way for you to just get to know the market a bit, to figure out how you could optimize listings if you check them out, like on the online presence of Airbnb, or what could you change in the back end to make the host more money and to get a higher occupancy rate. So it's a good way also to enter this kind of business, to eventually later on then venture into the Airbnb business yourself, like with having physical properties as well, but where you know and have figured out through being a co-host, for instance, what is actually profitable, what markets works well, and what you need to be a good host and to make the most profits with your property basically. And the good thing with most of these ideas is now that you first off, not just, of course, you help yourself, you make more money, but you also can help the community. You can hire people, you can have a cleaning team, for instance, you can have the fundis, like the handymans trained, so you give also and transfer skills to them. What's a good thing, you hire them on the ground. But you can also just make the community a better place. You help yourself, you make the community a better place, people earn more money, people have new skills, and eventually you can also grow with your business and become the person to go to for this specific business you are starting. So I hope this helped a bit to get some insights into different businesses that evolve around the Airbnb business with much less investment than having a physical property yourself in the first place. And now let me know down below in the comments which business idea you find the most interesting, or if you have anything else that surrounds the Airbnb ecosystem as well. And I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, and I see you in the next video.